Go.
Hello and welcome to the Hispanic Patriot Podcast, a weekly podcast broadcast live from a secret, undisclosed location in the heart of the newest battleground state of Colorado. Here we speak the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help us God. My name is Nicholas Razzo, and without further ado, I present to you all our fearless patron, Hugo Chavez Ley. Give it up for the Hispanic Patriots.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
How's everyone doing tonight?
Very good. Except for all the DNC
All
we
right.
had to watch, but
Welcome to another fiery edition of the Hispanic Patriot Podcast. My co-host, Nicholas Razzo, and I will bring you up to date on some of the most important topics of the day. And we are red hot with topics tonight.
oh yeah.
We have a special guest tonight, congressional candidate John Fabbricatore from the 6th District in Colorado will talk about his campaign against the incumbent Democrat. Folks, we're just now 76 days away from the election of our lifetime. Now, here are some of the topics that we will be discussing tonight. The DNC and the party platform. You'll never guess who it calls to reelect while we give our analysis so far on what I call the do-nothing communists, aka DNC, and talk a little bit about the activities going on outside the arena. The governor, number two, the governor of Colorado, Jared Polis, has called for a special session this Friday. What is that all about? Biden delivered his farewell address in the midnight hour. Kamala officially nominated by the DNC. And projecting is the name of the game at the DNC. And something that we just learned about today, RFK Jr. may join forces with Trump. What is that all about? That sounds interesting.
Yes, it does.
So we're going to be discussing these topics and more. But as we said, we have our special guest tonight, Mr. John Fabbricatore from the 6th Congressional District in Colorado. And before I introduce him to the audience, I want to read his bio for you. John Fabbricatore is a United States Air Force veteran and recently retired after more than 30 years of service with the United States government in a federal law enforcement capacity. Spending the last 24 years with U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, most recently as a member of the Senior Executive Service and as a field office director for the states of Colorado and Wyoming. He has led multi-agency joint task forces related to enforcing immigration law and spent many years locating criminal alien fugitives, arresting illegal alien sex offenders, and combating heroin and fentanyl trafficking. He also served as a deputy chief of staff for Joint Task Force West, a multi-agency cross-corridor operation of the federal, state, local, tribal, and international levels to disrupt transnational criminal organizations. Additionally, he was detailed to Washington, D.C. to work in the Department of Homeland Security Operations Section as the Director of Independent Departure for Task Force Operation Allies Welcome, OAW, which was set up to address the Afghanistan refugee crisis. And in July 2023, John testified in front of Congress at the House Judiciary Subcommittee on Immigration Integrity, Security, and Enforcement. His testimony focused on the consequences of criminal illegal aliens on U.S. communities. John Fabbricatore was awarded the Secretary's Homeland Security Silver Medal for meritorious service. He was also awarded the Meritorious Life-Saving Medal from Arapahoe County Sheriff for saving a life in a fire. So a true hero.
Very much so.
So we're going to bring in John now and welcome him to the show.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Hello,
there,
John.
John.
Welcome to the Hispanic Patriot.
Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
We
We
are
appreciate you.
we are excited to have you on the show tonight and highlight you to our audience and introduce you as the opponent to the incumbent Democrat, whose name shall not be spoken on the show. Um, so, tell us a little bit about, besides what I just read in your bio, give us a little insight into who John Fabbricatore is.
Yeah, so besides all that stuff you just read, I'm a New York kid. So I grew up in New York and went to a high school in Long Island, joined the military right out of high school. When I got out of the Air Force, I became a federal agent in 1996. Did all the things that you read about, but the other things that I'm into. I have a 150-acre ranch up past Craig. I love to hunt and fish. I spend a lot of time up there. Spend a lot of time with my family. I'm really into Brazilian jiu-jitsu, brown belt in Brazilian jiu-jitsu. I've wrestled since I'm a young kid.
Don't mess with this guy.
fought in 8 MMA matches, over 32 boxing matches, and just had a lot of fun with that. I'm an older guy now. I'm in my early 50s, so don't do a lot of that except the Brazilian jiu-jitsu these days. But I love
jiu-jitsu. Only that.
Only that right now. So I love Colorado. I've been here since 1998. I consider myself. I lived in New York in my early years, but I've been in Colorado a long time. Raised 2 kids here. And Colorado means a lot to me. So after retiring in 2022 and kind of seeing the direction Colorado is going and the direction that this country was going, I didn't think it was right for me to stay retired. One day I was kind of looking at myself in a mirror and I said, John, you retired pretty young. I mean, you did 30 years with the government, but retired at 50. Now is not the time to be sitting on the sidelines while all this stuff is going on in our country. So, I made the decision to jump into this race and go against, I'll say his name, Jason Crow, because I've been a witness to what Jason Crow is about. When I was the ICE director, I got to sit across the table from him, argue about whether he was trying to shut down my immigration detention facility or how he felt about ICE. So I knew that he was further left than most people think he is. He's not the moderate Democrat that most people take him for. And I figured someone needed to jump in this race, and why not be me?
Well, I'm an Air Force veteran too, 72 to 76. And I got to tell you, veterans like Jason Crow really chap my ass, to put it mildly, because, they come out with these, I don't know what happens to them after they get out of the service or whether they were that way when they were in the service. But he's been co-opted, obviously. The guy votes like 95 to 99% of the time with the Biden administration.
Yeah.
So he's not the moderate they painted it out to be in the campaign. And
absolutely.
So, I was a big Mike Kaufman fan when he held that seat. And I was sorry that we couldn't replace Mike with a more likable guy or more guy like Mike than Jason Crow. So I think it's very important that Republicans take this seat back.
Yeah.
I think that the district is open, and we want to hear more about what you found out on the campaign trail. So we have some basic questions for you,
Sure.
that we want to ask you for the audience benefit. But we also want you to give us some insight as to what you're finding out on the campaign trail.
Well, yeah, it's really interesting that you bring up, how he votes, because I think a lot of people don't really look into his voting record. And when you look at it and you look up the votes that he's had, I mean, he votes to the left of AOC and Cori Bush. So how can you call him moderate when you look at his voting record and you see he even votes to the left of them?
Yeah.
So, when you look at it, when you look at this district, and I love how you said that this seat is really open, because a lot of people don't look at it that way. When the Democrats wanted to take that seat away from Mike Coffman, they poured $12 million into that race to win that seat. At the time, it was the most expensive congressional race ever in Colorado. Yep. And Jason Crow won it, but it cost them $12 million to get them in that seat. Unfortunately, the Republicans have not poured that much money in back to winning that seat back. I don't understand what the mentality is on not wanting to fight as hard as the Democrats are willing to fight, because the Democrats are willing to go to any length to win these races. They're willing to go to any length to get people that they want in these districts into that seat. We don't seem to be able to be willing to do the same thing. I can tell you right now, my fundraising compared to Jason's fundraising in this race is night and day. He's raised over $800,000 and I've raised barely over $100,000. So, he's not even really trying to raise money because he knows I'm having a hard time raising money. Well, go ahead.
What I was going to say is they have the large donors that are willing to step up. Our large donors have gone to sleep since the last election.
Only concerned with the top of the ballot usually.
And this is what bugs me is that what I call the establishment group of the party, and I've been at this for 45 years. So I've been in Texas and I've been here, and I know what the mentality is, and that is that a lot of these guys, and I won't name some of them, but the names of some of these large donors, especially in the state of Colorado, but even outside the state. You get people from outside the state that'll pour money into a PAC that will back the candidate, like Jason Crow, and we don't have that counterpunch from the Republican side. So I don't know who's running what or who determines which seats are important enough to go after, but I can tell you that Colorado has been lacking for a while now. When I moved here, Republicans held every major seat in the state, and we had a majority in the legislature. And now look at where we are. So
absolutely.
A lot of things have to change, and I have my own personal theories about that, and we'll talk more about that. But let me ask you a quick question.
Sure.
What, as a candidate, first of all, is this your first time into the political arena?
Yeah. So, as a senior executive in the federal government, I was held under the Hatch Act, so I could not be involved in politics. Right. So, I didn't retire till 2022. I actually helped Steve Monahan out a little bit with his race when he ran for this seat in 2022. So right after I got out of the government, I had a lot of free time on my hands, was looking for something to do, hopped into helping Steve out a little bit. And that's what kind of got me interested into the being in the political arena. But really, I am, brand spanking new, real politician. I don't even consider myself a politician. I'm just a guy trying to help America. And, this is my way to do it, So
fresh right out of the box, fresh and shiny.
Right. I don't have anyone over my head. I don't owe anybody anything. And I'm just a new guy, trying to get in there and do the right thing.
The most valuable politician, the new man. That's what America's all about.
Well, I think a lot of our good candidates around the country are in the same mold. They're not politicians. But they've gotten fed up with what's going on, so they came in to serve. Let me ask you this: Have you had any contact or support from people like Mike Coffman or any others that are out there in your area?
Yeah, I mean, Tom Tancredo has endorsed me. Tom Homan, the former ICE director, has endorsed me. I've had people stepping up. I haven't reached out to Mike Coffman. I know as a mayor, he does not like to get involved politically because he's got to deal with whomever is sitting in the seat. That's normally something a mayor wouldn't normally do, especially a sitting mayor. So
I was thinking more behind the scenes, not necessarily out in.
Well, if it was behind the scenes, I wouldn't tell you about it. So yeah. So I mean, Tom Tancredo has come out officially and done an endorsement for me. So look, I'm not, I didn't reach out to really get a lot of people's endorsements, especially early on, because I don't want people just endorsing me because I'm going against Jason Crow. I want people endorsing me because they learn who John Fabbricatore is and they believe that I can make a difference in Congress. And I really believe people need some time to hear me on podcasts like yours, to really research me, because when I want someone to endorse me, I want them to say, I agree with John Fabbricatore. I agree that this is a guy that I want in Congress, and not just because I have an R next to my name.
Right.
You know how valuable it is to earn something, for sure,
Yeah.
rather than just have it for the political sake. I admire that.
Absolutely. And I've known Tom Tancredo for years, since he was a congressman, and I was a young supervisor at ICE. So, I mean, I've known him for years. So him endorsing me is different, because Tom knows my work value. He knows who I am. He knows what I've done. So, getting Mr. Tancredo's endorsement is way different than somebody just random.
Especially with your experience.
That's a huge grassroots endorsement for sure.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So give us 3 principles that form your core political beliefs.
Yeah, honor, number one. Look, you have to go into a situation with honor, and you have to say, I have this honor. And then the second is loyalty, but loyalty can never be over honor. So your honor must come first, and then your loyalty comes. It can never be loyalty over honor. Honor always comes first. And then I would have to say, my core beliefs in family, God, and country. So, those are the things that I really hold to my values. Like I have honor, the military taught me that, my upbringing taught me that. I really believe in a sense of honor, going into something with honor. I believe in being loyal to a cause. And then, I have God to rely on, my family to rely on, and this country to defend and protect.
That's great.
That's absolutely beautiful. And John, I really personally admire your experience, not just as a Hispanic, but as a young person. We have lost many of my generation to the fentanyl that I don't have to tell you, foreign actors are putting into, gosh darn everything. They're even putting into things like mushrooms these days, and things that people think are safe. And so I wanted to ask you, you have all that experience directly seeing the effects of the drug policies at the border. So with all that experience, what policies and what is the general attitude that our government could take that could actually stem this neo-opium war that we're experiencing?
Yeah, wow, great question. And it's really multi-layered. Number one, we need to get real serious about where the drug's coming from. And we know the precursors are coming from China. We know it's being manufactured mostly in Mexico. And we need to get serious about really holding those countries to an account on what is happening to our country. To have over 100,000 people a year die from, opioid overdoses, if a foreign country were to come into this country and say they had sarin gas and they gassed everybody and 100,000 people died, we would be at war with that country. Yes, but we're not understanding the issue that 100,000 people are dying from a chemical source, from this fentanyl, and we're really not holding China as accountable as I believe that we should, nor Mexico. So number one, you really have to look at this at a foreign relations type issue and deal with it first in the foreign relations issue.
Agreed.
Then we have to get serious about how we conduct our operations to take fentanyl off the street, who we arrest, how we arrest them, and then prosecute them. The biggest problem is we're letting too many of the low-level drug traffickers and dealers out too fast, too soon. There's not enough for them to be scared of, that they're not afraid to go out on the street and deal fentanyl and then get back out. So we need to make sure that, if you deal fentanyl, which is a deadly drug, you do time. You don't go into custody and you're out in 3 months, and
you're not a little fish. You're not a little fish if you're killing.
You're no longer a little fish, and we need to deal with that. And then look, we need to deal with addiction in this country. So the people in this country want drugs, and drugs are being brought into this country, and we need to take a step back and look at ourselves in the mirror as a country and say, we have an addiction issue in this country. We need to deal with that as well. Because if people aren't looking for these things, then they're not overdosing. But to your point, though, there are a lot of drugs, soft drugs, that normally would not kill somebody, that are getting poisoned by fentanyl, and we have people dying of those drugs. I mean, so you could find fentanyl and some college kid thinks he's taking a Xanax, or thinks he's taking Ritalin or something, or Adderall to stay up for a test, and it's not. It contains fentanyl, and they die. They weren't being a drug addict. They thought they were using something, and maybe they shouldn't have been using it, but they still used it anyway and died because they did not know what it was. And that is wrong as well. And we need to really start taking a look at this and figuring it out, because we don't have it figured out, and more people keep dying.
Thank you for that compassionate, multifaceted approach, because that's beautiful. That is what we need.
That's the tragedy to me, is that the overwhelming majority of the victims in this war are our young people. So we're losing, God knows how many young people that could have been great contributors to our nation.
I've known so many of them.
They were unsuspecting victims and people that, and I agree with you. To me, this is an act of war, and somebody needs to get tough. And that's why I firmly believe that we need President Trump back in office to lay the law down. And I think he's going to get a whole lot more done in his second term than he did his first one.
Especially with John in the House.
Yeah,
that's what we need. Yes, sir.
Absolutely. So let me ask you this question. As you know, the Hispanic founded on the principle of disseminating information to the Hispanic voters, because we believe that Hispanic voters are the savior to this Republican Party, not only in Colorado, but around the nation.
Yeah.
And it's the fastest growing demographic. They are the most entrepreneurial. The ones that come here legally and establish citizenship love this country. And, we've had a great contribution from Hispanics in the military throughout our history.
And ICE and the border control.
Yeah. A lot of Border Patrol agents are Hispanic. A lot of ICE agents were Hispanic. Yeah.
And a lot of people don't know this, but Congressional Medal of Honor winners have come. The Hispanics have represented the largest number of any other demographic for Congressional Medal of Honor winners. So
awesome.
That means that we're patriotic, and we believe that,
and tough.
We're not afraid. Yeah. So let me ask you this then, with regarding that topic, what have you had in the way of communicating with Hispanic voters? Have you had any opportunities to speak in front of Hispanic groups? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I haven't, gone and spoken directly to Hispanic groups. I try to get out into the community where Hispanics are. So, going out to fests in Aurora, the Global Fest and different things. Because look, for me, Hispanics are Americans. Like all these groups are Americans. Like, we have other groups, everyone reaching out and they're like, well, are you talking to just Hispanics? No, I'm talking to Americans. Like Hispanics are Americans, man. So, and they are very conservative, and they're at the churches, and they're at, like, Hispanics are everywhere that I'm at speaking. Like there's Hispanic people in the crowds. It's like, I'm like, yes, I'm directly speaking to Hispanics every day. I go out and give a speech because Hispanics want to make a difference in this country, and they go to the rallies that I'm at. They go to the speeches that I'm at. I have Hispanics standing up in the crowds and asking me questions. And I will speak to any group that wants me to speak to them. I'll reach out to anybody. And look, you're right. Like Hispanics can turn this around. They are very conservative. I don't think that the Republican Party has reached out to them enough.
Thank you.
But I do believe that Hispanics are making that difference. Like they're reaching out themselves and they're showing up, so we just need to get better. Where I think we need to get better as a Republican Party, and not just with Hispanics, is at our age groups, like under 30. So, we need to do better with that. And we'll have Hispanic young men and women coming to those gatherings and stuff, and we can reach out more. But
as you can tell, this is the Boomer and the Millennial counterpunch.
I
see generational bridge here.
But that's important. It's important.
I think that is extremely important, reaching out. But let me give you statistics that you may or may not be aware of. In Colorado, there are 300,000 plus Hispanics who are eligible to vote that are either not registered or don't vote.
Yeah.
So my push has been that Republicans need to go after that voting group, that base, because if we can imagine if we got 1/3 of those to register and vote with Republicans.
Look,
that's 100,000 votes. How many elections do you think we could turn with 100?
A lot. But we need to have like the Scott Pressler type effort to reach out and get these people signed up and get them involved. So a lot of people are not involved because they just don't know how to take that first step. Politics isn't something that people just wind up in. I mean, you really do have to take that first step in attending a meeting. And sometimes it's not easy to find where these meetings are, or people always ask me, well, how do I get involved? How do I get involved? And these are people that are in their 40s, 50s, and 60s that are asking me that. So they haven't done it their whole lifetime. So we need to be more accessible. We need to make sure, like you said, look, we need to make sure these people are signed up and are going to vote. And we need to show them how. Some people don't even know how to vote. They've never voted before. And they're embarrassed. They're like, if I show up at this voting place, what do I do?
It can be stressful.
It can be stressful if you really don't know and you've never gone before and no one's ever gone with you. Or you've never filled out a ballot and you're like, you look at it and it's got all these things on it. You're like, what do I do with this? Right. So we need to, Scott Pressler does a great job. I don't know if you guys know.
We actually met him at the RNC, actually.
Oh, did you? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was funny. My hair was a lot longer back then. So I was like, hey, you part of the Good Hair Club? And he said
nice.
He was very sweet. It was like, we're going to make it, baby. We're going to do it, baby. He's a funny guy.
He does a great job with getting people signed up, getting them ready to vote, helping them out, making sure they understand their ballots.
They say we want to suppress the vote. No. We want to expand the vote. We want everybody to vote because we know if they had confidence, they'd be voting with us. Just facts.
Oh, so true. So true.
But my friend, you actually have another interesting accolade that we mentioned, is that you helped with the Afghanistan refugee crisis that happened under Joe Biden's watch. We actually lived in our complex with a number of Afghan translators, and they really appreciated the time they had to show. What they said to me was, we showed those old men in those mountains that we could run our country better, and we will do it again. So they've met great people. And so we've seen that from Venezuelan immigrants, from Cuban and Colombian people. How do you think that U.S. law enforcement agencies can utilize the experience of these foreign refugees in order to protect our security and our borders better, given what they've experienced?
Wow, another great question. So look, I'm pro-immigration, first off. So let me just say that on this
legal immigration on the show.
Pro-legal immigration. So a lot of people, they have this preconceived notion about me that, this guy's anti-immigration. He doesn't want anyone coming in this country. That is 100% not true. So
we know where that's coming from.
I am pro-immigration, and there are a lot of great people who have come over here. And again, the Afghan refugees came over legally. We allowed them to come in. They went through a process, a refugee
put their life
process.
on the line for us in a lot of cases.
Right. And there's always going to be a small segment of every population that does come in that turns toward criminality. So if we have 100,000 Afghans come in and 1% of them are criminals, it's going to happen. It is what it is. But you know how you deal with that 1%? By involving the other 99,000 Afghans who are not criminals. So to your point, how does law enforcement use those to help combat crime that they may not be aware of, or because of language issues and cultural dilemma.
Can't bring it to us.
They can't bring it to us. So law enforcement needs to get much better with a kind of community umbrella to bring in representatives from various communities, working with the Afghan community, the Ethiopian community, the Eritrean community, the Hispanic community, and build up those community leaders in that community so that they trust law enforcement, and then they're able to counteract the crime that's happening in their own cultures. Because another thing that we see is, especially with illegal immigration, is when illegal immigrant criminals come into this country, they prey on migrant communities.
Yes,
that's who they prey on first. They go to communities where they are like everybody else, and their first victims are very often migrants from within that community.
Your own.
And though their own people, and those people usually do not reach out to law enforcement, either because of their immigration status or because they're scared and don't know who to go to. So that's where law enforcement, again, needs to get better at building up a network and a nexus, a trusting network and nexus that people can reach out to and help, because that's how we combat crime. Not, a very small segment of our population is criminals, but they're getting away with a lot of crap lately. So, we need to put our foot down as a society and say, we've had enough of this crap. And, we're going to stop that. And the best way to do that is have a massive amount of people saying, hell no, it ain't going to happen anymore. Yep. So, that's how I kind of look at that.
And that's what, we're all about legal immigration. I was fortunate. My parents came when I was 7 years old from Peru. Mm-hmm. So I've lived here 95% of my life. So, I know a lot of immigrants that have come here legally, made great opportunity. They've taken advantage of their opportunities, become educated, started businesses, thrived, and are now among the most patriotic Americans that we have. So I always tell people, I'm not a Hispanic American. I'm an American.
Yes.
And, I'm an American of Hispanic descent.
Yes.
I don't, begrudge my heritage. I'm proud of my heritage. And, but when my parents brought me here, one of the first things my mom told me, and I still remember this, was we moved here to be Americans. And she said, we will speak Spanish in the house, but outside the house, you will speak English. And I came at the time when they didn't have all this bilingual stuff going on.
He did it on hard mode.
I did immersion, and you know what? Within 6 months, I was speaking English. So that's another topic altogether. I can get off on a tangent, but what I want you to know is that we are not necessarily targeting Hispanics, except in the sense that we want to educate them about what you were talking about. The process of getting involved, how their voice can be heard, how they can prosper, and how they can benefit.
It goes back to what John said about that, is about you need someone of your own in order to help out. Because that's what happened. We all need someone to hold our hands. And I think that actually happens in politics. Like for me and Hugo just kind of met and decided to just magic happened. You need somebody. That's why I call him our fearless patron, as our patron, our Don, everything. You need somebody like that to lift you up and to show you, hey, it's okay. There's been men who've come before you. You can do what they are doing because you are made of the same stuff. And that's how we all become Americans together.
So that's a great point. And something that I bring up a lot, it's mentorship. Men do not mentor other men enough anymore. We need to do it much more. So, kudos to you, Hugo, for, being out there, being a good mentor, because look, all of us men need to step out of our shell, out of our box, out of, whatever we're in our own heads sometimes, and reach out and mentor, especially young men and other men. It doesn't, you can mentor someone older than you. You can mentor someone younger than you. It doesn't matter. But men just need to do that a little bit more, man. We need to. We need to we need to get with each other. And look, I smoke cigars. It's one of my vices. Nice. I go to the cigar lounge. I sit around with a lot of other guys. A lot of guys are retired military, retired law enforcement. I mean, all guys from all walks of life really are in that are in that cigar lounge. And and when we're in there smoking cigars, just like talking to each other, talking about our wives, our lives, and our children, and everything else that's going on, it reminds me that men don't do that enough. Like we need to be able to reach out to each other and really help lift each other up. That's a big thing, and men don't do it enough. Yeah, exactly.
All right, well, John, we're up against the clock, but I wanted to give you an opportunity to give us a little closing statement. Sure. Tell the voters what your goals are with this campaign, and when elected, what you will be championing for the district.
Yeah, I mean, number one for me is national security, border security, and just making a better future for our children. The economy needs to get fixed. Foreign relations needs to get fixed. There's a lot that needs to be done. I'm willing to go into Congress and do the hard work. I've been a hard worker my whole life. If you want to check out more about me, you can follow me on X. I'm on X at John, the letter E_FABB. John E_Fab. You can check out my congressional website at John Fab for Congress. That's JOHNFA2Bs, the number 4 Congress.com. If you Google my last name, there's not a lot of Fabbricatores in Colorado. I think there's 3 of us, and they're all related to me. You'll find a lot of information. I've done a lot of podcasts. I've done a lot of interviews on the radio, Fox News, Newsmax. You can look at a lot of those interviews and kind of see what I'm all about. I'm out and about a lot. I'll be at the Cigar Fest up north this Saturday, then at Legends Sports Bar at 4:00 for a meet and greet. So I'm around all the time, just looking to talk to people and do my thing. So thanks, guys, for having me on.
I'll be in touch with you because I have some other information that I want to give you. So
sure,
and we'd love to have you on again, my friend. You've been fantastic guest.
Thank you. I appreciate
You're welcome anytime. If you want to come on and give us some news, you're welcome.
Thanks, guys. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate you guys. Have a nice evening.
God bless you, and we wish you the best in your campaign.
Yeah, God bless you guys too. Have a great day.
And God bless.
God bless.
All right, that was a good candidate there.
Absolutely. You see that so much from the Republicans these days.
I think we got a good one there. So now that we have that out of the way, good interview. I think great candidate. We wish him the best on the campaign trail. So let's switch gears and talk a little bit about the DNC and the party platform. And one of the things that I really was surprised about, because apparently they didn't proofread their platform or they didn't update it after they shoved Joe to the curb. But you know who he calls for to reelect in their platform?
Joe Biden. Joe
Biden. Still today.
There's still people who don't know that Joe Biden dropped out,
Yeah. I talked to someone the other day. He said, who are you gonna vote for? He said, well, not Joe Biden. I said, well, Joe's not running anymore. What?
That's something you got to remember, folks. Whatever rock you think you live under, somebody lives in a rock further under the ocean than you.
Oh, yeah. So you've been watching some of the DNC. I've been watching some of the DNC. What is your impression of the tone of the convention?
Well, if I had to humorously, give a tone, it would be, I mean, it's been vitriolic. I have not. So anybody who wants to see my full reaction, we have highlight videos on the main channel, and you could be seeing those for my full analysis. But here's what I've got out of it so far. The RNC was about unity and positivity and had a lot of young people there, a lot of good-looking, cleaned-up people. We really put our all into everything. Everybody knew that the media was going to be there, that we needed to be on our best behavior, and we were. I think we did everything as perfectly as possible. The Democrats, they feel that all they have to be is good enough. And that's what I've seen the DNC, is they are cleaned up, they are gussied up. I honestly think that the DNC is going pretty well from a Democrat perspective. I think there's a lot of energy. They're giving off a good front. But here's the secret. It's all a ruse. It's all a ruse because you can see as they speak that they're, number one, they are ripping off Republican talking points. You had Anna Navarro calling Donald Trump a communist, and that Donald Trump is just like those communist dictators. You had J.B. Pritzker saying, "Oh, well, I'm richer than Trump, so take it from me." You have Kamala promising all these.
That's what they're good at, is projecting.
That's why you said project.
Whatever they say about Republicans is exactly what they're doing.
Exactly.
And it's been a convention of liars, in my opinion.
Well, and we got head liar herself, cackling murder lady, as she's affectionately called, Hillary Clinton. And after she was done speaking, the next thing out of the Democrats' mouth was, "I think we all agree that we all stand on the shoulders of Hillary Clinton." And they all cheered. Democrats all said that they agreed with their loving adulation that they agree. People have to understand, when you're voting for Kamala Harris, you are voting for Hillary Clinton in a trench coat. Yep. That's what you're voting for. You're voting for Hillary Clinton. They want another run, and they see Obama and Clinton see themselves in Kamala Harris. And if a Democrat can't see themselves in you, they won't care. Sometimes in more ways than one in Kamala's case. But it's sick. I'm sorry. Well, it's sick to have that duplicity.
Now, fast forward and contrast that to what's going on outside the arena.
Oh, gosh.
And all the America hating, Israel hating, Jew hating that's going on outside. And their speakers are saying Kamala is not their person. So,
oh, man.
If those radicals that are outside are saying she's not their person, how do they expect to gain those votes?
Well, they're not. BLM also condemned Kamala Harris as well for switching between the black and the Asian identity. I've mentioned before. Y'all can look it up. She's a Dougla. That's the name of the race. It's half Indian, half black. It's from the Caribbean. It's a beautiful culture, and she won't claim it. And I mentioned that in the reaction. Yeah. Why would you pretend to claim to one thing or the other? It's like the trans ideology. I want to be both things at once and get the benefits of everybody rather than being my unique self. You can be your unique self in the Republican Party. It's easy, but you got to conform in the Democrat.
The bottom line is that they have selected the most radical presidential ticket in U.S. history. And there's no denying that. The media is working 24/7 to try to rebrand her and paint her as a moderate. But all you got to do is do a little research, and you can see who Kamala Harris really is, and definitely who Tim Walz is.
And it's sad because we already dealt with this with Obama. I thought we already knew how to sniff out that kind of stuff. I guess we can't.
Obama had the advantage of being the first black candidate. And, people can argue with me about this the whole time, but my opinion, Obama was elected because of his race, period.
Yeah, that's just a historic fact at this point. Like,
you can say, yeah, he's a good speaker. He's what did Joe Biden call him? He's a
clean, articulate Negro.
Clean cut, articulate Negro. That's what he called him. And
oh my goodness,
nobody said a word. And then, not to mention the comment he made about the workers in 7-Eleven.
Yeah, you got to have a slight Indian accent.
You can't go into a 7-Eleven and not run into an Indian character.
I made that joke. He said you have to have a slight Indian accent. I made that joke when he was speaking on day one. And, honestly, Hugo, because you're older, I might want to know your opinion on this. It seemed like all Joe cared about was getting that last little bit of love. We love you, Joe. We accept your mistakes. I see a lot of that from Democrat-minded boomers. Oh, yeah, and you're not like that at all. Where does this come from? I know I screwed up, but you still need to love me. I need to be sent off to pasture with love. Where does this come from?
Here's what I was thinking, and I wrote about when they started that "We Love Joe" thing. They're all standing there with a straight face shouting "We love Joe," as in the back of their mind they're thinking, now go away.
Yeah, like, we love you, Joe, now get out.
See ya.
Get out of here. We love you, but not that much.
And
Or the
nothing
chill
could have been
sign.
more clear than the DNC putting him on at practically midnight
Yeah.
when everybody's gone to bed and nobody was going to listen to his speech. But plus, his speech was a complete retread. I mean,
Yeah.
it's the one from State of the Union and that horrible speech that he made in front of Independence Hall in Philadelphia with
Oh
the two
yeah,
Marines.
the authoritarian speech with all the red
Yeah.
mist and the Marines behind him trying to threaten us. Like,
That was just horrible. But
but
that's
now,
if you look at those three speeches and they're almost identical.
and now they
So-
want to pretend to be the friendly family. You know, they were talking. Oh, Anna Navarro was like, oh, my dog likes Kamala Harris. You know, dogs are a good judge of character. I'm like, are you serious right now? You have Doug talking about,
Dog is on drugs.
you know, and that's the thing. You know, a dog will appreciate those who feed them, but if you stop feeding them, what happens? You know, this is what
Yeah.
Democrats do: is they offer, but in the back of their offers, it's I can take this away. Republicans don't want that. Republicans want you to have control of your life, not to depend on somebody else for the control of your life. And that's what I heard at the DNC is we are pretending to be Republicans where you want us to be, and we're toning down our Democrat rhetoric where we know you don't like it.
So poor Joe delivered his farewell address in the midnight hour. Sayonara, Joe. Now he's in California, probably lounging on some beach where he can't even open.
I don't have to worry about this anymore. It's great. Hunter, where's the... Well, I'm not going to make that joke, but...
So let's switch gears to Colorado real quick. There's
Yeah.
something coming up this Friday where the governor of Colorado, Jared Polis, has
All hail
called
the queen.
for a special
Sorry.
session this Friday. And do you know what that's about? The special session?
They're going to lower our taxes.
Well,
They're going to
no,
finally...
it-
They're going to
it's
finally
a
help...
deal.
Democrats.
Here's what's going on. There are two ballot initiatives to reduce taxes this November, put out by Advanced Colorado and some other conservative groups. And Polis sees the handwriting on the wall, so he wants to head these initiatives off at the pass by trying to cut a deal, saying that if the Republicans will remove that from the ballot because he knows it's going to pass, then they will give concessions about lowering property taxes and other things. But here's the dirty little secret. This is a tactic the Democrats always use. The last time they pulled this little stunt, they made a deal with Republicans. Republicans gave in. And guess what happened after the next session started after that?
It never got brought up, and we got
They
Jack Diddley
reneged.
squat.
They changed. All they did was change the rules because they had the power in the legislature, and their deal went out the window, and the voters are left hanging. So I
Without a
hope
choice.
the Republicans do not cave on this, and especially pull these ballot initiatives that I think will pass from the ballot. Because if we do, then they will have gotten us once again. And you know, you got people out there like Christy Burton Brown on the radio saying, "Well, it's better to get 65% of something than 0% of nothing." And no, that's not, because Democrats never give.
They wouldn't give us the deal if they knew that it could eventually go through. And they don't want the people to make a decision. They would rather have the politicians make a decision.
That's exactly what this is all about. They want to take the vote away from the people. So I'm here to say I hope people do not fall for this. And Advanced Colorado, Michael Fields and Christy Burton Brown, do not fall for this.
Don't cave. Just don't cave. Call your people. Call your representatives if they don't know about this. And I'm like, we don't want you to cave because we want the choice to be able to lower our own taxes because we know you guys can't do it up there with Democrats in charge.
The people need to speak.
The people need to speak more. That's our biggest message here on Hispanic Patriot is we have more power than the Democrats have brainwashed us into thinking we have. Don't listen to them saying you need us. They need you. And more, our country needs you.
So back to the national scene. Kamala has been
Kamala.
Kamala has been nominated officially now by the Democrats.
Ceremonially. They already did it virtually and beforehand, but don't pay
Exactly.
attention
Yeah.
to that.
They officially did it virtually a
Our
couple
vote
weeks
wasn't
ago.
virtual or ceremonial. Our vote was real and completely non-ceremonial. So
Yeah,
keep that in mind when you vote in November.
our guy was nominated way back in January.
We
so-
actually voted for our guy. Oh, you're voting for the felon. At least I actually voted for him.
Yeah. Well, I'd rather vote for a felon than a communist.
There you go.
You know, that should be another hat
Yeah.
or a T-shirt. I'd rather vote for a felon than a communist.
There you go. Better orange than red.
Maybe we should print some of those out and put them on our website.
Keep an eye out for that, folks. We are looking to get a merch store very, very soon here. You love this beautiful logo over here. It could be yours on a mug, on a T-shirt. Be looking out for that.
Yep, just like on this shirt right here.
Yep.
So, as we know, projecting is the name of the game at the DNC. They're going to continue their little love fest tonight. They're going to have some additional speakers. We'll see what else they have to say. But so far, the whole thing has been filled with anger and vitriol toward Donald Trump. They haven't
Meanness,
spoken.
name calling, just
They lie about his record. They lie about his agenda. They keep trying to tie him to this Agenda 2025, which he has repeatedly denounced. And even Heritage Foundation has said that he has not endorsed.
yeah.
Heritage Foundation are the ones that are behind the Project 2025, and they didn't get any support from Donald Trump on it.
No. And I actually mentioned this in the DNC, my reaction. Well, wouldn't it have been nice if the Democrats could print out a 900-page document explaining every tiny detail of the things that they believe in? If they did that, I don't think a lot of people would like to vote for them if they kind of saw, if we made our own Project 2025 that showed the Democrats' policies, it would make Project 2025 by the Heritage Foundation look like kids' games.
Yep, exactly. But they're making a big.
Transparency.
But they've latched on to. That's one of the issues they've latched onto.
Because we're attacking the bureaucracy.
And then the other one is that Trump wants to instill a national abortion ban when he's repeatedly said that Roe versus Wade reversal was the right thing and that the decisions are back to the states where they belong.
So it's not Donald Trump's fault. It's your
he's
state's
never
fault.
even said that he's for a national abortion ban.
He even removed the national stuff for the pro-life stuff out of the platform, out of the the main part of the platform for the. Obviously, it's still part of the party platform, but he's kicked it back to the states. It's not Donald Trump's fault he can't get an abortion. Blame your own state. But no, they want to be mad at Orange.
The bottom line, though, is he's never been for a national ban.
And no one's ever been against, we don't want to force women who have been impregnated due to brutality. That's their choice. We don't want to kill women if they need that help, that help because the baby's dying and they can't keep it. We've always been for those exceptions, always for these exceptions. And they're lying, saying that we want to ban all abortions. It's just like you said, it's a bunch of lies.
All right. So breaking news today was RFK Jr.'s campaign announcing that they are considering joining forces with the Trump campaign. And the reason behind that is not so much that they're wanting to be Republicans, but the Democrats have put roadblocks against that campaign in virtually all 50 states. They fight them every time they try to get on the ballot. They fight them. So the campaign, the running mate for RFK, I can't remember her name right now, but she came out and said that it may make sense for us to just join forces with Trump because our main goal is to stop the Democrat Party and this radical ticket. And that's,
Come on board.
Well, yeah, that would be a really huge backlash against the Democrats for their dirty little tricks trying to keep RFK. Why do they want to keep RFK off?
I'll tell you why. It's because because you've seen elections with like Ross Perot and other people like that. Probably not the best example, but you've seen these spoiler effects. They wanted to have Gary Johnson be a spoiler effect to get Trump out of the way. This is what Democrats do. So they're tipping their hand. They're saying, look, we know RFK Jr. will take votes away from us rather than you guys, so we just don't want him. But they've never done this to a third-party candidate before. That is a factual proof that RFK Jr. will take votes away from the Democrat Party, and they don't like it. They don't like democracy.
But the campaign, the RFK Jr. campaign, has come out and said they believe that they would take more votes from Trump than they would from the Democrats.
And they could be right.
I don't know if I agree with that, but that's what they said.
Well, and that's what they might believe, but the Democrats certainly believe the opposite, or at the very least, they believe that more Democrats will listen.
Yeah, they're scared enough to try to keep these guys off the ballot.
Well, they're terrified this year. That's why they want to make a good face at the DNC. The Democrats are scared because they know that if Trump wins, a lot of truth is going to come out.
Latest polls are showing President Trump with about 45% of the Hispanic vote. That would be the most in Republican electoral history.
And no one's talking about it.
And they are approaching, if not already past, 30% with the Black community.
Yep.
Asian community has already left the Democrats. I saw an interview on YouTube a couple of days ago. They interviewed this Chinese couple. They were both wearing MAGA hats and stuff. And the guy is asking them, he says, so why are you supporting Donald Trump? He says, because we escaped China to get away from what these Democrats are trying to do. And we need Trump in office to preserve this republic. They know, they understand that, and this is an older couple. And so if that couple is there, you got to believe there are a lot more of them out there.
Oh, yeah. We in Colorado Springs have a huge Vietnamese community, actually. It's very conservative. So shout out to the Vietnamese folks in Colorado Springs. We love you.
Absolutely. So
they know what communism is.
So it's going to get interesting. We'll have to keep an eye out on the campaigns and make sure that we get the information out. So this Saturday, we've got another one of those illegal meetings up in Brighton.
Oh, they're always such a joy, aren't they? The illegal meeting.
I'm going to be there, and just little birdie told me that Mr. Todd Watkins may not even be in the.
We might see everything, we might see what's going on with all this.
He might not even be a voting member after Saturday morning. So
if he keeps doing what he's doing, I mean, it's pretty obvious that he's going to ruffle too many feathers, and it's just sad because we need unity at this point in our party, and anybody who's willing to knock over the apple cart because they didn't get their way at the most important time, this is what you get. I'm sorry, but you can't make friends by slinging mud at everybody.
Absolutely. All right, so we're out of time for tonight. We want to thank everyone who tuned in. Look up Mr. John Fabbricatore.
Yes,
from the CD6 campaign. Don't forget to show us some love. Give us some likes and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Subscribe to our Rumble,
our X platform,
X, all our channels, and help us in any way you can. Don't forget to communicate with us, share your thoughts with us. We're off.
Love hearing from you all.
Got another meeting coming up right now. So have a good night, folks. God bless you, and God bless